bringing the heat of the flag? Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the stage the Prince of the Fire Nation, Zuko, Jake Long from American Dragon. He's the one, the only, Rufio, Dante Basco! Such an honor, such an honor.
The honor is all mine. Hello, Zuko here.
How are you feeling, Dante? How you enjoying the valley so far?
I'm doing good. I love it out here. Some people remind me I was here many years ago for a gamer con, same building. It's just there's two guests at that con. It was me and Master Chief.
It's you and many.
Now it's me and all the teams there, folks, and all kinds of people. It's great.
Yeah, don't count yourself out. You are such a big name. Like, we have fans of Hulk in the house. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Am I right, everybody?
Yeah. It's good to be back in the valley. Some of the best Mexican food in the whole country out here.
Yeah. You know, it's just the perfect thing to add a little spice to that thing.
I know.
Fuego. But let's get down to it, everybody. We got a number right here on the screen, 956-253-1999. You can text your question to that number, and I'll get it right here on my tablet. And I'm gonna go ahead and ask that for Dante right here. So hey, send in your questions, but first,
yes,
I got my own.
You have some questions? Go.
Yes. I've already been talking to you. I was such a big fan of Hook, and I want to talk a little bit about like that early stage of your career in acting. How was that?
It was great, man. Like, I did Hook when I was 15. I started acting when I was 10. So I was like a young vet when I was like a teenager. I thought it was so cool, doing my thing. But when you do a movie like Hook, it's pretty phenomenal. It's like, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, and everyone from around the country, around the world that leaves like places like here to go to Hollywood to pursue your dreams, you hope to land in a movie like Hook. That's the kind of movie people are like dreaming of being in. With big movie stars, big directors like Steven Spielberg. I mean, the sets were phenomenal, and it's a different era of filmmaking right now. Nowadays, a lot of computerized things, a lot of things going on with green screen. In those days, it was traditional movie film, very practical. Where practical, like everything was real. When you watch that movie and you see things like the big pirate ship. Like one of the days, I walked into one of the sound stages where we shoot the movies and stuff, and they built this big pirate ship. And I was like, whoa. Like, I went to the ceiling, and it was in water. And it was in water. We were like, what?
We need a ship, we need water.
Exactly. It's like Steven Spielberg. It's crazy. And so it was kind of like working at Disneyland, because it's like all that stuff was there, and all the pirates. And it was great. I mean, I got to learn how to sword fight. So all the sword fighting in the movie was me. Sword fighting, I'm very proud of that.
No stunt doubles there.
No stunt doubles there, I'm a sword fighter.
And let's go a little bit, you said you started acting when you were 10. How was that, like, early life experience of yours? What roles did you get that still, like, stand out to you today?
Yeah, well, before I was an actor, I was a dancer. I started my whole career as a break dancer. So, yeah, I'm a B-boy. And
you got the cardboard.
Yeah, I know, I still boogie, I get down. When I started acting very young, and I was very fortunate to, like, the first thing I auditioned for, like, I booked, it was like a little TV show. And I'd worked so much as a young actor, even before Hook. I did shows like The Wonder Years, and after school specials, and all kinds of stuff. I was like just a little working actor, and then of course Hook kind of brought me to the next level of the game. But I did films like The Perfect Weapon with Paramount. I was just like I was just a kid actor. I'm a kid actor growing up now. I've been an actor now for 39 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a hard industry to stay alive in, and I mean, I've been acting. I've been acting longer than probably most of you have been alive in this room. It was just crazy. Like, none of y'all were around when I started acting, and I'm still acting, damn it. But so it's been a good career.
That's awesome. And you mentioned breakdancing. So the Street Freaks, was that before?
The Street Freaks, that's before. I was the Street Freaks. That was the name of our crew. Me and my brothers were the Street Freaks from San Francisco, and we were just b-boys on the streets of San Francisco, Pier 39 out there, Also Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley. We were just, we were those kids on the street with the boom box and the cardboard box out there and a hat out for money. And we were like making money on the weekends. We became a very popular breakdancing group. We ended up getting picked up and we started dancing. We did halftime shows for the 49ers. We did 4th inning, 7th inning stretch shows for the Oakland A's. And yeah, we was out there. And then we got scholarships to the San Francisco Ballet Company. And we started studying ballet. And we did the Nutcracker. We became professional dancers. That led us, all that experience as kids dancing. So we also did competitions on the weekends. And me and my brothers, I think in a year's time, we went, on the weekends, we won like 30 competitions.
Wow.
In a year and a half, which is crazy.
In just a year, that many companies?
Yeah, well, like a year and a half, my mom was driving around to competitions, and then that led us to moving to LA after we did all that stuff. And when we moved to LA, I was 10. So all that happened before I was 10, which is crazy to think, right? Like, I was like, how are we dancing before all these thousands of people? And then also like we were opening for like acts at clubs, like Ice-T and all this, because hip hop was like the beginning of hip hop, and we were just like a cool little crew that would come out and dance. But then we moved to LA when I was 10, so I don't even know how we did all that before we were 10, but I did.
A lot of these projects that you were part of, and like you were mentioning how hip hop was a very big thing at the time. You're writing these waves, you're writing like these trends before you realize they are trends. How was it, for example? Like I have a lot of people asking about, but I'm a cheerleader. Could you give us like a little insight on like your experience like that, like RuPaul and everything like that?
Oh yeah, shout out. But I'm a Cheerleader. For people that don't know, But I'm a Cheerleader is like an early indie film, late '90s, about these teenagers that get thrown into a camp to get ungay, it's a dark comedy. It's like one of our ungay camp counselors is RuPaul as a guy, like not in drag. So it's one of those kind of films. Yeah, it's gotta work exactly. Starring Natasha Leon, a bunch of us, Doug Spain. A lot of us were like young Hollywood cool kids at the time. It was very cool. Look, I grew up in LA, in the arts, in Hollywood, and so I've been around the LGBTQ plus scene my whole life, and just been colleagues and friends, and so we were allies. Like, this just goes without question kind of thing. And so being able to do a film, especially at that time, to just be an ally and represent the community was really cool. People look back and was like, risky, because I'm not gay, but I grew, I have a lot of friends that I want to represent for. But it was fun. It was a crazy time. It was a kind of crazy film. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary of that film this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was my first time going to Sundance Film Festival with that film, and I'm still friends with a lot of people from the cast of that film. So yeah, it's a special film, and the one great thing about that film is, even to this day, people will hit me in my DMs, and being like teenagers coming out to their parents, like this is one of the things that helped to come out to their parents, and so I feel very honored to be a part of that process. I know how hard that is for a lot of people, so if we can do it a little through humor, a little through storytelling, and if I can be a little bit a part of that story, I feel honored.
That's great. Many more like action projects before you start getting into the voice business. I'm not sure where exactly this falls in like the timeline, but Blood and Bones.
Blood and Bones.
A little bit about that.
Yeah, Blood and Bone is a film me and Mike Jai White action film. I don't remember. I was probably in the middle of doing book 2 of Avatar. It's a great film. There's a lot of fans out there because it's a classic action film. I actually play this character named Pinball, and that's a funny film about that. It's like my hair is real low. I play like a real hood character, and so when they're offering me the film, we were talking with the directors and stuff, and they were like, we didn't know if you could handle this character. And then when I started doing it, they're like, oh, like I grew up in the neighborhood. So when I moved to LA from San Francisco, me and my family, we moved to a town called Paramount. Paramount's right next to Compton, and like Paramount's just like Compton. It's just more Mexican than black. Compton's more black than Mexican, but we're like neighboring cities. And so I grew up in the hood, and so I don't get to play that a lot. But in this film, like they let me just go off, and they're like, okay, Dante, like is authentically from these places. Like he'd be playing other things, fantasy things, but he's actually from the neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, I'm a hip hop kid from the neighborhood, and that's where I'm from. We arise, we come out of that. I'm very proud to be from the neighborhood I'm from the communities I'm from. Even being a hip hop artist, I'm proud to be where I'm from. But you don't have to stay there. You know what I'm saying? We kind of rise out and we represent where we're from, and we try to just do better.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how did it go from all these like live action, on stage, in-person roles? How did that transition into voice acting?
Yeah, it's just you add on. You know, you never stop doing one thing. It's like I started out as a dancer, and from a dancer, I became an actor, and as an actor, I started writing poetry and things like that, and started a poetry venue, and my writing of poetry turned into writing turned into like writing plays and films, and producing, directing. Same thing with acting. You just on-screen acting, but when you're acting, there's a lot of different ways when you're an actor. At the end of the day, to catch a check, it's really about doing your art but trying to get paid, right? And so when you have an agent and you have people working for you, you have a lot of things that everyone knows about. Obviously, it's like you want to make movies, so that's one agent to make movies. You have a television agent that's doing television projects, but even beyond that, you have an agent that does commercials, trying to get you opportunities for commercials. There's all these different classes, of agents and what they're doing. There's like print jobs for people to take pictures for like magazines and stuff like that. This is a joke, but it's real. Like there's people that have agents for your hands, like hand model, things of that nature. So there's always been another agent that does voice acting. And now people come to Hollywood, things like Wakanda and how anime is blown up, where people are coming to Hollywood just to become voice actors, but it wasn't really like that back in the day. It's like you're just an actor, and then you have all these different avenues of opportunities that open up. So I've always had a voiceover agent, but that just kind of happened as my things were happening on screen for me. People started creating animation that I could be doing. That's how Jake Long happened. Before Jake Long, I did a pilot for Cartoon Network called Kitty Bobo about this cat that got adopted by a black dog. And it was Asian animators, and they wanted to get some Asian people inside to kind of voice these characters. And so I had a good fortune of getting to do that. And you never know. This whole like life, this whole industry is like this crazy adventure that you just kind of you roll with, you know.
Write it out.
And you write it out.
And how did Jake Long come about right after that?
I don't know how Jake Long came about, but it was around the same. What was crazy is I did a pilot that never came out on screen called The Chang Family Saves the World, and it was produced by this guy named John Ridley, who wrote and directed 12 Years a Slave. He's African American, his wife is Asian, and he wrote this whole pilot about this Asian family that don't know that they have magical powers, and they end up finding these powers. It's like the Fantastic Four, like a mother and two kids, and I was the teenage son that finds out in high school he has these powers, and they had to end up saving the world, right? And so we did this crazy pilot. It was the most expensive pilot in Hollywood that year for ABC Disney. And we almost got picked up, and we didn't get picked up in the last second, because that way Hollywood works is every season we do pilots that people never see that become TV shows if they get picked up by the network. It didn't end up getting picked up, but then instead of the on-screen characters I did, somehow this show, which is eerily close to the live action. Matter of fact, it's the same person who played my mother in the live action show plays my mother in the cartoon.
So you both came back.
Yeah. So, but now instead of just being, we turned to dragons. It's weird. So, I don't know how it all works out, but that's how it worked. I was like, okay, they gave me a cartoon. All right. Maybe they weren't ready for the Asians to be live action yet. Crazy Rich Asians hadn't happened yet. I don't know what, but you're like, okay, I'll take the cartoon. We'll do it. Let's go.
And you went from fire breathing to fire bending. Could you talk a little bit about that transition?
That was kind of wild too. So for me, I was a hero on Disney, where I was Jake Long. That was cool. And actually, Mae Whitman, who plays Rose on Jake Long, also plays Katara on Avatar. So we both got these roles at the same time. We're like, hey, you need to do that show? I'm like, yeah. And it was like, for me, I was like, I thought I was just gonna be the hero on Disney, my voice, and I can also just be the villain on Nickelodeon. You know what I'm saying? I thought that'd be cool. I didn't know that what Zuko was going to become. I didn't even know. I mean, again, we did the pilot for Avatar.
That one didn't air.
That did air, and that ended up coming out, but I thought for sure this was never going to come out. No, because it's like when I first got this opportunity, this role, they said, you know, that you go to Nickelodeon, like the show for Nickelodeon, and you go to Nickelodeon. Those days, Nickelodeon, it's like this. It's in Burbank, California. It's a big studio. It's like this white studio, and it's covered with green. They have painted green Double Dare slime on the thing, and it's like big orange letters saying Nickelodeon, right? And then you walk through the big green gates, and there's like 20-foot murals of SpongeBob and like Cat Dog, like classic Nickelodeon things, right? Like, oh, this is cool. And then they give me a script, and it's like this ponytail, bald-headed dude with a scar doing some kicks, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm reading through it, and it's like this epic anime-inspired Asian tale. I'm like, this is not Nickelodeon. I was like, there's no way they're gonna air this.
And they changed your mind. Now you thought like, yeah, this is gonna be great.
Nothing. I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, so these guys killed all of these guys? They're like, yeah. I'm like, that's genocide. Yeah. I'm like, we're talking about genocide? These are kids from a war running around after a genocide war, and then my guy is like parental abuse? Like, yeah, I'm like, what cartoon is this on Nickelodeon? This is never gonna make it on air.
This is supposed to be right after SpongeBob.
Yeah, like we're going from SpongeBob to genocide? Yeah, so I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't think this is ever gonna make it to air. This is not, I mean, it was so crazy. It was so not Nickelodeon. You're like, and the look of it was very anime. You know, like you're like looking at the pictures, you're like, this is Nickelodeon, this is anime. They're like, yeah, I'm like, are we doing Disney XD stuff here? What's going on?
Nick XD.
Nick XD. No, but so it all worked out. A lot of times we don't know what's gonna work or not, what's not gonna work. So I was pleasantly surprised with the whole Avatar.
And when did that change, like, of perspective come to you? Like, was it like after the first episode? Like, did you? No, bro. It was a different era of life. Like, there was no internet. I mean, there was internet, but not internet as we have it today. No one even had a Facebook back then, or Twitter. Twitter didn't even exist. MySpace?
Maybe MySpace. We had maybe a little MySpace. Shout out to MySpace, you know. But it wasn't like now. And so we just did the whole show, and we all liked it. I thought it was cool. And matter of fact, we were like reading it, and like, I was like, wow, this is a cool story. Things were happening. When I found out how Zuko got a scar, I was like, this is amazing. And then even around book 3, we were doing it for years.
Right.
And it was like, oh, I'm gonna teach him how firebending. This is crazy. Me and May and Jack the Center, we all were always recording together. I was like, this is so cool. Even Mako, who played my uncle originally, was like, we worked together so much through the years. Like, these are amazing characters. But we didn't understand people were watching the show. Because to me, it was like, this is an after-school show on Nickelodeon. It's like a 3 o'clock show on Nickelodeon. Like, no, for kids. It's made for 12-year-olds, essentially, right? And so in my mind, and I do movies, you know. As a matter of fact, I was doing Take the Lead in Toronto with Antonio Banderas, a dance movie. And then one of the guys, because I would be leaving the set all the time. I was like recording on Thursdays, and I would be leaving the movie set, and I remember one time Antonio Banderas like, well, Dante, where are you going? You keep leaving, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? And I'm like, oh, Antonio, I have to do a cartoon. You do not say no to the pussy. No, he goes, oh, you're a voice actor. I go, me too. I go, yeah, you're Puss in Boots. We all know you're Puss in Boots. And he's like, I'm both voice actors. I'm like, I love that you're putting me and you in the same category. Antonio. No, Antonio was amazing. Yeah, Antonio's amazing. And then, but one of the other actors, who's an adult, was like, "Where are you going? What show?" I'm like, "I'm doing this cartoon, like this Avatar." Yeah, he's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "What? Avatar?" I go, "Who do you play?" I go, "This guy is Zuko." He goes, "But you played Prince Zuko, the firebender?"
Takes out his.
And he's like, and this dude's like 22 years old. I'm like, "What are you talking? You know about this show?" He's like, "Bro, that's my show." He had to come with me and to the taping. I remember Brandon on the movie. He came while we were doing I actually was doing when I was yelling at the wind kind of thing on top of the mountain in that episode, and he was just tripping out. That's the first time I realized, like, oh, like adults are watching this show, and this is something bigger than I know, because there was no like people blowing up your Twitter. It was just like, I thought little kids were just watching the show, so it was cool.
If I could speak on part of like, I was part of the generation where the episodes were coming out as like, I don't know how far the schedule was in terms of like, we recorded it this much and now it's coming out. Like, I don't know how the schedule was, but
about a year off.
So a year you worked on the entire thing, and after that it came out. Like, I was there for like every episode. I forgot which day it was, but I was always looking forward to it. And like you said, it was after school, and it was just like so cool to witness these great changes happen. Like, you know, a lot of shows like Game of Thrones, they shove like 8 seasons down your throat, and you're like, whoa, this is a lot. I don't even remember that guy being there, and all of a sudden he's important.
Right.
And Avatar: The Last Airbender did it so well. Like, it was like, you know, people have season live, and this thing is the whole cake, but it's not a big cake.
It's a different era of watching TV too for the OG fans like you, because some OG fans out there. This is before Netflix. It's like you had to wait every week.
Yeah.
So it's like those 2-part episodes. It's so weird.
Yep.
It was like did they kill Uncle Iroh? Like, what happened? Now we can just watch the whole thing. We can binge like all 3 seasons on one time. But now those days, you guys, we just had to see what was going to happen.
Man, homework has to wait. Zuko's on the screen, and he's about to go into the
And the finales. The finales are a big deal.
2 episodes. No, that's it. It's 2 parts. And speaking of Zuko, how did you change along with Zuko throughout like playing him?
A lot, man. I go back because one of my jobs right now is I do a podcast called Brave the Elements that is produced by Nickelodeon and Avatar Studios. So I'm still working for Avatar, and I get this really unique thing to go back and look at and watch the episodes. My unique job. As an actor, a lot of times we never really go back to look at our past work because we're kind of on to the next thing and trying to get the next gig or developing the next project. And so to really get a job, to get paid to go back to look at some stuff you did before is pretty unique. But it's also cool because you get to relive a lot of these moments. And if you haven't listened to the podcast, it's me and Janet Varney, the voice of Korra, go back through Avatar. And it's not just us watching episodes and commenting on them. We are doing that, but also we get like the creators, Mike and Brian, join us for a bunch of episodes. All the cast members throughout the years have joined us on episodes to review episodes, and not only them, but animators and the music people and fans and cosplayers. It's really a great celebration of the show, but I got to relive certain things as I was watching the show. And myself as Dante was going through a lot of stuff in my life during the time of recording that character. And so I was remembering all these things that I was going through. The reality is a lot of my life was kind of I was going through some traumatic stuff in my life and transitions and leaving certain people and problems with teachers and like authority figures in my life, acting coaches, that I was going through some real traumatic stuff that ended up, I think, getting into the DNA of the character. So it was just one of those perfect storms with the right actor, the right character meeting at the right time. I think that's one of the reasons why Zuko has become special for a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't think Nickelodeon could have chosen a better person to play that role. Like, it happened, the stars aligned, and you got to play that role. And we had the pleasure of like witnessing that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's go.
Revolving around Zuko, so like, just, you know, out of all the emotional scenes you voiced as Zuko, which one stuck with you the most?
I mean, like the one on the top of the mountain when we're like screaming at the wind. I do remember that one, trying to get yourself there and understanding where Zuko's at in that place. Also, after Mako passed away, the scenes with Uncle Iroh, very, very emotional, and the wonderful Greg Baldwin came in to fill in his shoes. It was hard because Mako had played my uncle and my father several times throughout my career since I was like 12. It was the first time I met him. And so for him to be gone, I think the first episode after his passing, which was wild, was when he was in prison, right? And Zuko's going to go talk to him, and I was talking in the scene, but the way they wrote the scene was and you remember the show, like Uncle Iroh doesn't speak to Zuko, and he had just passed away, so it was wild, right? And then by the time I kind of came back to do the scenes with Iris, when we talk to each other when we're making up, right? And which is already an emotional scene, but to hear Greg Baldwin in another booth and sound like Mako's voice coming back from the dead, it was everywhere the room was crying, and the creators and the director, everyone in the booth was crying. It was pretty emotional.
Life imitates art, art imitates life. It was like the perfect thing. That's something that personally sticks with me the most. Zuko spent such a long time away from Iroh, and finally it goes, it has that character development. He has to come back to him after that growth, and Iroh witnessing that, it's just like, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. And you were mentioning like how you're really deeply connected to like your other cast members. You were mentioning that a lot of them came onto your podcast. You keep in touch. Did you?
Yeah, the whole game. We're all Team Avatar is a good family, man. Like this whole thing, you guys. I mean, everyone's con goers, and we go to Comic Cons, and it's great to see all these other cliques. Star Wars fan, and like the Star Trek family, different animes. It's really cool that one of the things that I got to be a part of, and has become this wonderful family. And one of the great things we get to do is get to travel around the world together, spread the good word of Avatar, meet the fan base. Is really, I think that less is a fan base, more of a community. There's like a big Avatar community worldwide, and we just get to celebrate the show and all the things the show's about. I found myself very fortunate that I could have been a part of a lot of other things. There's a lot of great stuff. We could have been vampires, or we could have been something. We could have been anything kind of crazy out there. But the message of Avatar and the people that are involved with it, I just couldn't ask for a better family and castmates to like share this experience with, and a better community out there. It's like if y'all are like Avatar fans, we probably have something. That's the thing we have in common. It's like I probably like who you are as a person, So I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how did it feel coming back to the role of Zuko, and how did it feel like being his grandson in The Legend of Korra?
Oh yeah, that was cool. No, it's cool to come back. I mean, sometimes in the Fire Nation, the voice gets passed down to the next generation, It was cool. I didn't know what we were doing. Mike and Brian, the creators, were like, once you come back, because they really love the community on the fan base also. And so just how popular Zuko had become, they just wanted to, I think, give an Easter egg to the audience. And so they brought me back, and I was like, how is this going to work, They showed the picture. He's like a big dude, like Iroh the second. I'm like, he's like a big strapping guy. We were trying different voices, like how maybe sounds more like this or that. And they're like, well, how like higher or lower? That's good. That's here. Yeah, like do it like that, like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm like that. That's my voice. That's the same voice. We're just gonna use my voice. Yeah. And I was like, they're crazy. This is not gonna work. But then by the time Korra came out, we did have the internet the way we have it now. And I just remember the first episode dropped with Iroh the second, and my Twitter blew up crazy. I was like, oh,
Now we had social.
they know what they're doing. But it was very cool. It was cool to be a part of the second kind of gang too. Going back and now going to see the new gang. I remember when I first did the first episode or so with the Korra fam, I felt like the older statesman. elder statesman. I was like looking at these guys like, you know, we already did this, but like, how are you guys gonna do it? Okay, you're like soccer. You're like, you know, you guys good? You guys good? I'm gonna come and help you guys out, but my crew, we already did.
And you know, I'm sure you get this question a lot, but if you yourself were in the universe of Avatar: Last Airbender, what would be the element?
Fire Nation forever. What are we talking about? Fire Nation forever. Although I'm out here in the valley, a lot of Earth Kingdom, a lot of Earthbenders out here, which makes sense. What do we think? We think the valley. What do you think is it? What element do you think is out here?
I don't know. What do y'all think? Raise your hands for Earthbenders.
Earthbenders? Okay. Okay. Waterbenders. I mean, it's raining outside. Waterbenders? You guys are nice. Not the bloodbenders. Not the bloodbending. Bloodbenders, simmer down. Bloodbenders, simmer down. Airbenders. So a few of y'all, you know, we took out, I mean, not that many airbenders, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And then what about Fire Nation? Fire Nation in the houses? No, Fire Nation.
Alright. Lightning benders out there?
Lightning benders.
Oh, we got one. We got two. We got three, four.
Okay.
Hey, that's where I'm at. Ow.
Lightning bending. You and Azula. Oh, y'all. She's out there flexing for lightning all the time.
At some point too.
But I can redirect it. I like to think, there goes, there's some like, I like to think Zuko got it at one time. You Azula over there? Don't keep that lightning bending to yourself, alright Azula? Keep your lightning bending to yourself. Oh my god, how dare you? What is she doing? I did, you know, one fan came to the table and was giving me this concept, which I actually liked. He said, you know, when Azula's always flexing with that lightning, I was like, I hate that lightning. He's like, me too. He said, you know, after Zuko went to the Firebending Masters, which is one of my favorite episodes, right? So good. And he, you know, they're surrounded by the rainbow flame. He's like, I understand. He said that last Agni Kai, if Zuko pulled out some rainbow flame, right? He should have came with some. He should have talked to Azula with like, you think you're fresh with that? Would you like me? Check out this rainbow flame I found from the OGs. That would have been crazy.
So cool. He pulls up on the two dragon.
He comes down with a dragon and hits him with a rainbow flame. I understand, Rainbow. I need you to understand something also.
And okay, so that's who you would, you know, you would be a fire.
What about you? What do you represent?
Lightning bender. I mean,
lightning bender. Okay, that's fire. That's fire. We're Fire Nation on the stage.
What's it called? But what other nation would you think Zuko fits in besides the fire?
I think he had a good time in Earth Kingdom.
All right.
There was a part of him when he was leading there was a moment when he was smiling at the tea shop. There was a moment before they got called in to see the Earth King. Him and Ira were like, hey, we're good. Like, we're good. We're good in Earth Kingdom. He had that date with the Jinn. Yeah, what about him? What happened? I often wonder what had happened to Jinn. I think that one of his, I mean, I know he was dating May. We don't know. We know they didn't end up together. I don't know what happened.
Something.
I hope we find out. But I do think one of his first things as Fire Lord was like, find Jinn in Boston City. Can we find May's cool. I'm down with May. What about May? May's a ride or die. And I ship Zutara. People know I ship Zutara. I do ship Zutara. But rewatching the show, May, like I was telling someone earlier, if May was at the club, you gotta holler at May. I mean, her style is fresh. Her style is amazing, impeccable, the bangs. She obviously got good skills with the knives. I like her voice is raspy. She's out in the corner talking trash, but you gotta go holler at the club. And when she came to save him from the jail, that's a ride or die chick right there. I mean,
turning on Azula of all people.
I know. I remember. I remember when I was watching. I was like, "What's that? Is that Boiling Rock episode? I believe." when they found Zuko and he was like, the warden was like, you used to date my niece. It's like, oh no, and of all the damn wardens in all the Fire Nation, gotta be my ex-Pieces uncle? You don't ever want to meet your ex-Pieces family, nowhere. To bring it up. But she came and got him. She's a gangster, I like her. I like Mako too. I like Mako.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we've been talking a lot about how you really feel like you embodied Zuko and Zuko embodied you. Was there any moments that you had the liberty of like improvising lines, maybe kind of altering certain things too?
I'm not improvising. There's certain things I get to, like Jake Long, I improvised a lot because it was like hip hop and all this fun stuff we were doing. This thing was you're in another world. I wasn't improvising anything. I just stuck to the script. I think Jack DeSena and Saga, he got to improv a little more, have a lot more fun. I was just sticking to the script, man. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know what was going on half the time. I was just writing it. I was just rolling with them.
So like any raw emotions we witnessed on the screen, that was on the script.
That's it.
And you delivered.
That was it. I did my best.
That's awesome, man. We got a question here from the audience that I witnessed this as well. You know, like you seem like a really calm person. How did you get into the zone? How did you manage to do Zuko screams like that? How could you say that? And don't patronize me.
Hey, we're actors, you know. I think I've been an actor a long time, and it's great. I'm a pretty even-keeled person in life. I'm pretty mellow. But the great thing about acting is we have the permission between action and cut to go there. You know, man, there's a lot. We're all people. The reality in life is like sometimes I just watch people. You know, part of my job is like people watching. But like, if you sit down, somebody start kind of watch everyone walking around. Sometimes it feels like everyone's kind of at the verge of tears, and to stay sane, you can't really show everything you're feeling at all the times. Or you be a crazy person. You know what I'm saying? But as actors, with this crazy life that we live in, this crazy world we're in, between action and cut, we have the permission to be angry, to be sad, to cry, to do all the things that you can't really do in regular life sometimes, or else people think you're weird or what, you know. So that's the one good perk as an actor, is to have between action and cut, like really express yourself.
And my next question is, what is one piece of advice that Uncle Iroh, gave to Zuko that you keep retelling yourself and you find yourself telling other people a lot?
I mean, there's a great quote. In Korra, he says, I forget exactly the word for word, but he says like, when you're in darkness, if you look for the light, you'll often find it. But if you only look at the darkness, that's all you'll ever see. And there's darkness that may get it. Who knows? We're living in crazy times. If you look for the light, you can actually find it. So let's keep looking for the light.
That's awesome. And to talk a little bit about more of your time as a creator, could you just speak a little bit more about your experience with your movie, the fabulous Filipino Brothers?
Oh yeah, my directorial debut. I directed my first film a year or two back called The Fabulous Filipino Brothers, and I wrote and directed it, and it premiered at South by Southwest in Austin Film Festival.
Awesome, congratulations.
Thank you. It's good. I think as an artist, like I said, I've been an actor for like 39 years. I've been producing movies for about the last maybe 15 years, and predominantly Asian films, Asian American films, and Asian worldwide films. And really about giving a platform to a community that didn't really have a lot of voices out there. And so I was able to produce other films for other people, and finally got to direct one for myself. It's called The Fabulous Filipino Brothers, based on all these stories from my life, and it's a crazy film surrounding a Filipino wedding with 4 brothers, starring my real brothers. So you can check it out. You can rent that on Amazon Prime right now or Apple TV. So check out The Fabulous Filipino Brothers.
Awesome. And we're talking about family, and let's speak a little bit about your culture. Like a question from the audience: how important would you say your culture is to you, and how important is it to your work?
It's great. I'm Filipino, and it's very, hey, what's up?
Filipinos in the house.
Filipinos in the house. It's very cool because I was one of the first Filipinos that really kind of came to Hollywood, that started making a lot of noise, and so a lot of people, especially Filipinos, they look up to me as one of the pioneering actors in Hollywood, which is very cool. There's been some before me. I always give props to cats like Ernie Reyes Jr. and guys that were there before me. But in this era of filmmaking now, it's very important because I always tell people this is the deal. Like, I know it's a lot of different people, diverse community here. Hollywood, it's like over 100 years old, but all the characters in Hollywood, most of the characters that I played also, like 99% of the characters in Hollywood were created by straight white men. And that's just how it is. That doesn't make it racist or anything. That's just been how it was created and how all these stories are written, which is fine. It's just been some beautiful work. But in this new era of Hollywood, we're more interested in more authentic voices for people's cultures. It's more about us telling stories from our own point of view. No one knows us like ourselves. And it's not stopping, like, say, white straight men to stop making movies. No, keep making movies, but we also need to make movies, and we need to keep the conversation of who we are through art. Obviously, we have felt some type of way about some characters that we had to play from that perspective. It's just, that's that one person's perspective. They may feel some type of way about, say, a black artist or a Latino artist saying something, or maybe the white character in their films that they may find, something about. But that's the conversation through art. For so long, it's only been our whole pop culture has been seen through like one kind of group of eyes. But in the future, where we're at now, where we're going from here, is really our voices in our communities, our voices from ourselves is such a more important part. So definitely being Filipino is a very important part of what I do, and I'm trying to promote other artists and create opportunities for the next generation, not just for Filipino artists, but all people of color, all different voices, because our future is really learning about each other through our stories and have authentic storytelling told by the people it's about. So that's where we're at.
Amazing words from Dante Basco. Is there anything that any advice that you yourself would impart, I guess, stepping in the shoes of Iro himself, that you would impart to aspiring actors or voice actors here today?
I mean, I read a lot of poetry. I have a short poem called Advice to the Young Artist. Seek out and study with a master if you act to greatness. The aim is to impact the world and be a catalyst for changes. Forget what your name is. You should want to be good more than you want to be famous.
Dante Basco, 2024.
Dante, thank you so much for the music. It's a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for Dante Basco, everybody. Thank you.
You can see more on stage. You can for the rest of the day. Please join us. One more time with Dante Basco.